Welcome to the Bold Money Revolution podcast. This is your source for straight talking, no fluff, business and high performance conversations that add real depth and value to the way bold leaders live, work, and thrive. I'm your host, Tara Newman. I'm here to show you how to optimize your performance as a leader so that you can grow a business that is profit-rich, efficient, and allows you to generate real, tangible wealth for yourself and others. We are here to help you lead with your values, to perform without overwhelm and burnout, and to do your most important work in the world. Trying to figure out how you're feeling about your business right now? If so, you're not alone. Is your relationship status set to "it's complicated"? But also very unwilling to go back and get that 9 to 5 because you're watching your colleagues drown in a sea of boundaryless work hours with a complete lack of autonomy. And if you haven't noticed lately, the American workforce has had it. So let's make sure if you're considering getting a job, it's because it's an intentional choice and not because you're feeling like you've overcomplicated this small business thing. If you're not paying yourself properly, you're constantly in a state of worry about revenue, and you feel like somehow you're failing at this online business thing because it seems like everyone else around you is printing money, listen up. This is for you. You are an expert, and it's time that you get paid like one. Welcome to the Bold Profit Academy, the only system your business needs to get you paid like the expert you are. We are focused on 4 core areas you really need to build a sustainable business and not work all the time. We're talking easy on your energy. We will teach you. Here are the things, the 4 things we're going to teach you. We're going to teach you how to create a gold star lead generation process so that you're always able to find leads that want to talk to you and become paying clients. Understand buyer psychology, why people buy. What do they actually need so you can clearly communicate what differentiates you in the noisy marketplace? Align your sales process with your values and strengths so you gain confidence, the confidence you need to create predictable revenue. Understand how money works so you can profit in any economy year over year. I'm Tara Newman, and I am a business growth strategist, Profit First certified consultant, high performance coach, investor, and long-term wealth building money nerd. After over 25 years in business, working both for large organizations and building my own, I'm supporting small business owners to make the targeted shifts that allow them to turn their businesses into wealth creation machines. You have paid your dues and then some, I'm sure of it. So now it's time to secure your financial independence. To check out the Bold Profit Academy and get onto the waitlist to join, go to theboldleadership.com/academy, and maybe you'll be one of the many women celebrating their successes on our next Friday call. Hey there. Welcome to the Bold Money Revolution podcast, and I'm your host, Tara Newman, and I'm excited because you may not have noticed, or maybe you have, but I haven't actually recorded a podcast in a very, very long time. Today is my first day back behind the mic. Gosh, in probably months. We are epic batchers over here. We batch our episodes well in advance, and we make really good use of repurposing our content, which is a thing because I know I talk to some of my clients and they feel like they're cheating if they repurpose content, but there is no way of getting off the content hamster wheel unless you repurpose some of your content. And as a podcast who has been around for 5 years, we have plenty of content to repurpose. So here you are, here we are, here I am. Welcome to 2023. This is my first episode of 2023, and it's probably coming out at the end of January. And my podcast, my first podcast of every year, is really about setting the intention, setting my intention for the year. And that's what this podcast is all about, because I value your time, your energy, and money. In a noisy world where we have 26 seconds to capture attention, you being here is not lost on me. Last year, we grew this podcast 45%. That is wild and unprecedented. And one of the reasons we're able to experience this growth is because we don't do fluff. We don't do BS. And I myself am incredibly direct. And that is really where I'm kind of coming at with this podcast episode today. And I hope you enjoy it from the perspective of hearing my direct thoughts, but also challenging yourself to be more direct in your content. So if you're like me, you might have been noticing your capacity isn't what it once was. I did some back-of-the-napkin math, and last year my family got sick 3 times. 3 of us, actually. I don't know how much dirt my son must have eaten in his childhood, but he did not get sick at all. However, 3 of us got sick 3 times. And when I did this back-of-the-napkin math, I realized we lost over 18 weeks to illness. Do you hear that, parents? 18 weeks, that is wild to me. And it has really changed the way I'm thinking about life, work, family, scheduling, all the things, money, going forward. So instead of trying to figure out how to do more with less, we need to be able to discern what is worth our energy and what isn't. And that is why I am doing this podcast. This year is about even greater transparency, where I show up as explicit as possible, because we don't have time to waste, right? We might be navigating all different normal ups and downs of life, and then we might be navigating illness or some kind of family crisis or some kind of health issue or whatever. And so we need to learn how to be more discerning. And this year for me, it's about transparency, leaning into what I think is already a superpower for me and being even more explicit. This way, you know if you should continue to tune in on a weekly basis or whether you want to be even in a reciprocal relationship with us. And what that means, reciprocal relationship means you take some time and you leave a review. You share an episode with a friend. You take an action and email me, or you join one of our programs, because that's how business works, through reciprocity. And the one thing that I see missing the most in small businesses today, especially if they're doing business outside of their local community and online, is that feeling of Main Street. And really the reason why Main Street works for businesses, local community works, is because you're in relationship and you're being reciprocal. And so I'm trying to bring that back into what I do and taking a stand for that. So, and the only reason why you would be reciprocal is because you're gaining value, right? You're the right person here with us. And especially if you're considering working with me, you need to be sure you have the problem we solve. You need to be able to tell if now is the best time to do this work, if I'm the right fit, and if what I teach will work for you. The quickest way I know how to do this, I'm going to give you a secret, y'all. The quickest way that I know how to do this is to be direct, honest, and speak in plain language. Nothing flowery or sexy or internet markety, right? We're just going to be real humans on this podcast. So how do you know if you should spend your time listening, signing up for our email list, or joining the Bold Profit Academy? I'm going to tell you right now, so keep listening. Let's talk about who you are, right? You are an expert running a service-based or education-based business. And when I say expert, I mean you've been doing what you've been doing a long time. You have the experience, you have the expertise, you have the qualifications. That doesn't mean it's a degree, right? But you have some certification or the requisite qualifications to be doing what you're doing. And I'm going to give you an example of what is not an expert, because I get people who email me all the time. And I had this woman who emailed me who was an accountant. For her career, she's been an accountant. That would make her an expert. However, she'd recently taken a coaching program and had a transformational experience and now wanted to get into some kind of transformational work like the experience that she had been through. And she wasn't sure what her modality was going to be in doing this. Was it going to be coaching? Was it energy work? what have you. And she'd taken a whole bunch of business building courses, and none of them had seemed to really move the needle for her. And she was really stuck. And I said, hey, well, I love that you're considering joining the Bold Profit Academy. What I think you really need right now is something to help you with career transition. You're not quite ready to build a business yet. You're still really focused on changing from being an accountant to being this other person and identifying what your process is going to be and what your modality is and where you want to land. So you really need to work with a career transition coach or take some certification program to get yourself up to speed. Now, if she wanted to build a business like an accountancy, we would have been the perfect fit because she was going to be working in a way that leveraged her existing expertise. And so I hope by giving you that example, that was helpful. I don't work with people who are one step ahead. I work with people who are the miles ahead, right? And likely they have worked for somebody else to gain the experience that they have. And if you return to the workforce, you would earn a 6-figure salary. But you value your autonomy and agency above everything else, and you're not looking to work in a traditional work setting. You've already ditched your 9-to-5. And when you did, it wasn't because you were looking for $100,000 months. It was out of necessity. And all you wanted was more time for yourself and to replace the salary that you had. You wanted to be able to make that amount of money independent from an employer. But somehow you picked up your phone, you opened an app, and before you know it, you were sucked into the marketing messages that took you very, very far away from that goal and out of alignment with your values. And I'm going to give you some examples of what that might look like for you right now. You might be experiencing some of these, one of these, all of these. These are just the typical ones. You're not making the money you want to be making. And when I say you're not making the money you want to be making, you're not paying yourself the money that you want to be paying yourself. You're in a financially vulnerable place because you've poured a lot of money into things that you feel didn't work. You don't know what your enough is. You don't know what that magic number is that you need to hit so you can pay yourself, so you can run your business, so you can pay your taxes and have that cash flow. You're probably feeling burned out from building a business that worked to bring in initial sales, but has become overly complex. You're torn between creating content for 5 different platforms with ever-changing algorithms, and you've got a lot of try-hard energy going into convincing people to get on calls with you, only to hear they can't afford your services. And you're a credible expert who should be, and you know this logically in your head, should be commanding bigger paydays from consulting gigs, but you're pricing yourself and implementing strategies that are very entry-level, newbie, one step ahead, right? Because that is what the traditional online business culture teaches. You're tired from jumping through all the hoops and navigating what seems like a never-ending learning curve despite how long you've been in business. So when you see marketing that is overly aspirational around crushing it and 8 figures a year hoopla, you swing between I am over the hype and why don't I have the success I want, right? That is the one thing I hear from experts. Why don't I have the money to reflect my level of expertise? How come so-and-so over there on the Instagram grid next to me is crushing it and I feel like I am on the struggle bus and I don't feel like I am doing as well as that person is doing, right? And you're trying to find your center, the place where you can feel confident in your approach to your business and you're feeling good about your success. So if that sounds like you, welcome to a place where we put our mental health first. We charge grown-up prices to solve complex problems because we are experts and we care about keeping more of our money. We care about keeping more of our money. We build businesses that are in service to our health. We build businesses that regulate our nervous systems and build wealth. Now, on the flip side, I have heard it all. I have heard all the reasons why people don't want to work with me. And if you think this sounds too grounded, that is one of the reasons why people don't want to work with me. I'm too grounded. If this sounds too grounded, or if you're someone who is here for the biggest of big dreams, can't stop, won't stop until you have a 7-figure online business in the next year, I am not the mentor for you. There is nothing wrong with that dream. It's just not one that excites me or interests me or one that I want to even be a part of. I'm here for the 80% of people who, when they check in with what they want, they know they want to make a 6-figure salary while running their own business. They want to be able to give themselves raises beyond the 3% crap raises that they received when they worked in a traditional work environment. And they want to be a better boss to themselves than the one they had, right? Those are really the motivations that I'm looking for somebody to work with us. And the math says you can do that with $250,000 a year in revenue, and you can go higher than that. Absolutely not a problem, right? But to get to a 6-figure pay, you have to be around that $250,000 in revenue. Now, if you don't want to pay yourself a 6-figure salary, if you're like, listen, based on my lifestyle and where I live and my responsibilities, I don't need to be at 6 figures. I can be at $75,000 a year. That's fine too, right? That's fine too. My point is that you're not looking to run a hyped up revenue business for revenue's sake. My point is that there is a purpose behind the money that you're bringing in, and that is to pay yourself, give yourself a raise, provide financial stability for your family, and be a better boss to yourself. And sometimes a 7-figure business doesn't actually do that for you. I know that sounds shocking, but I've seen the behind the scenes income claims and statements from people online, and they're putting in lots and lots of effort to get to that high revenue amount and barely paying themselves 6 figures, if at all. So I'm here to take the quickest path to the goal, the easiest on your energy path to the goal. And finally, you're likely struggling to trust yourself. I hear this from every single woman that I talk to. You've made some decisions and you're being too hard on yourself about the decisions that you made. And honestly, I hear this from women who are in low revenue businesses. And I actually hear this from women who are running $10 million businesses. We have all seemed to make mistakes with our money that we are still beating ourselves up about, and we don't trust ourselves. So if this sounds like you, make sure you sign up for the revenue goal calculator by going to theboldleadershiprevolution.com/revenue. It's the first step in reconnecting with what you truly want and need, your intuition. And the first 30 days of emails from me, you will receive. They are specifically designed to help you trust yourself again. Now, let's talk about who I am, because that is a very important part of your journey. And I'm going to drop some things here about myself that you may or may not know, depending on how familiar you are with me. And one of my big things where I'm leaning into transparency specifically is around my own journey. So first, confession, I don't want a 7-figure business. I have no interest in putting in that level of work for my money. I like to make my money, make them really profitable, have really juicy cash flow, and then take that money and put it into other cash generating assets that will work for me so I don't have to work so hard for my money, right? And this could be the stock market, this can be a dividend portfolio, this could be real estate, this could be another business that you're not particularly running, that you're not working as hard as you are for this business, right? And so this is where we start to look at wealthy people have 7 streams of income coming in. So how can we start to take the money that you have, that you're making in this business, and start investing it in other revenue streams so you don't have to always be working so hard for your money? So that's really my biggest confession is, listen, I may one day have a 7-figure business and it will be perfectly by accident. That is not a goal that is on my list. My goal is to build a business that is in service to my health and builds extraordinary wealth for myself. And I know that I can build wealth, that I can be a millionaire, I could be a multimillionaire without having $1 million business. Now, I'm a lot of things to a lot of different people, and it's important to acknowledge that I am human. It's been tricky for me to navigate increased visibility because it brings with it a conflict between who you want me to be and who I actually am. And my commitment is to always show up as who I actually am, not who you build me up or tear me down to be in your mind. I have a personal life, which I don't share a ton about for privacy reasons. I'm against performative business and celebrity entrepreneurship. You are never going to see me really making income claims about my own income or posting any kind of income statements. I do use past P&L from my businesses over the years in the Bold Profit Academy as teaching and lessons, but that's not something that I would be doing forward facing as a marketing tactic. That's what I'm really here to say. And there are things that are relevant for you to know as someone who is looking for a teacher and mentor. And here's what I think you need to know about me if you're considering working with me. As a kid, I grew up in a family that owned a small business. So I have a very different relationship to small business than a lot of people have. I have seen my dad fall on hard times. I have seen him be really scrappy. I've seen him take big risks. I've seen him take out a second mortgage on the house to make things work. And they did, right? So I have a lot of early proof that small business ownership is amazing and it could work even when it's hard or challenging. I personally never felt like I fit in anywhere. You could find me watching curiously from the sidelines as my peers participated in all the activities and events, and I was what I like to call the fringe dweller. I guess I thought if I studied them long enough, I could mimic them and maybe fit in. This taught me to be an astute observer of human behavior and likely led to my pursuing a degree in psychology. By middle school, it was clear that I had learning challenges, but this wasn't a time that focused on inclusive learning. We weren't testing kids for ADHD and such. And so there were really no resources or support. And that made middle school and high school incredibly trying for me. I will also add what I'm not talking about here is a very lengthy trauma history that I'm choosing not to go into that started as early as 5 years old. Now, in middle school, I was bullied, and the bully didn't end bullying me until I physically knocked the other girl on her keister, and I don't regret it. And I know that's unpopular to say right now because of violence and all that stuff, but being able to reclaim my power from someone who was physically and verbally and emotionally threatening me made a huge difference in my life. And one day I will write a business fable entitled Why You Shouldn't Wear Lee Press-On Nails to a Middle School Bus Stop Brawl, because that's what she did. She wore Lee Press-On Nails. Now, by the time I applied for college, no school wanted me, not even the ones who took someone with a pencil and a pulse. This experience gave me a crash course in negotiating when I demanded the school reevaluate my grades and my application based on my senior year, because in my senior year, I actually made honor roll for the first time and realized I wasn't lazy, unmotivated, boy crazy after all. I simply excelled at things like political science, economics, government, and psychology, classes that I didn't have an opportunity to take until I reached my senior year. I then went on to shock everyone by graduating summa cum laude from a top research school and blew their minds by getting a graduate degree in industrial organizational psychology. I burned out for the first time, one of many, when I finished undergraduate school. So I chose to underachieve my way through graduate school. But I did score an epic internship working for a boutique HR consulting firm. This was an experience that is still with me today and informs so much of my own teaching and mentoring. Shout out to Evelyn. My mentor, Evelyn, prioritized motherhood over the grind. She gave her knowledge freely to teach us. She challenged us with assignments well beyond our capability, like letting me analyze and write 360-degree feedback reviews for C-suite executives in Fortune 500 and 100 companies at just 22 years old, right? Like, what did I really know? But she went on to share how I had gifted insights when writing these, and I really understood what was at the core of the human behavior and how they could go on to develop their skills and abilities further. And that is really where I've hung my hat my entire career. So I also know she was very, very direct. She modeled what it looked like to be direct and a no BS communicator. And I lived about an hour and a half, so I had about a 3-hour commute a day to and from this internship. And much of that time spent commuting was spent crying on my Motorola brick phone to my colleague and coworker. And so I really do also understand what it's like to hear hard truths and navigate your own cognitive dissonance. I also understand from my story not being good at math, not fitting in anywhere, and the loneliness that comes with that, being told I'm worthless, and the burning shame associated with feeling othered in an educational setting, trauma from being bullied and othered that impacts your ability to be a court jester on the internet and be visible and to do lives and reels and all of those things. And I understand the fine line between burnout and ambition. I've been a working mom for the past 17 years, so I also understand overwhelm and competing priorities. I have ADHD and chronic illness, which form the basis of all my business foundations and strategies that I teach. As a matter of fact, I built this business to heal from burnout, which I always laugh about because most small business owners are chronically burned out. But I started with that intention. In 2010, my husband and I went bankrupt, and that stayed with us until our credit report in 2020. And we went bankrupt because our first business, a manufacturing business, failed as we navigated the Great Recession. And we have spent years recovering from something that I thought was a death sentence. I never thought we'd be able to move on from that. But both my husband and I own businesses now, and we're successful because of the mistakes we've made along the way. So I am 100% here for you to make mistakes, for you to fail and flub your way through business ownership, because that is 100% the best way to learn. And I'm committed to providing safe places that allow you to do that. Because we get a lot of messages online that it's not okay to fail and it's not okay to struggle. And I think that's the only way that we learn. One thing that helped us recover financially and become successful today is the Profit First methodology, which I have chosen to become a certified Profit First professional. So sure, I have a graduate degree and expertise, but it's the ability to blend those things with our experiences that make us experts. It's not just about the content. As we know, anyone can create content, but it's the context that provides depth and richness. So combining these things with my over 20 years of business experience in the area of sales and leadership and training and development and team dynamics, I am the perfect guide for those who want to step outside the brainwashing of online business culture. So, hey, I'm Tara Newman, a perfectly imperfect human who has a ton of knowledge in business growth strategies that don't revolve around social media. My work focuses on 4 components: revenue acceleration, finding the buyers who are ready to work with you now. We all have them. We all have invisible leads. We need to get good at finding them, identifying them, categorizing them, and having simple ways to outreach and enroll them in our programs or our work or our services. 2, understanding why people buy. Understand why your people buy, buyer psychology, or what I call actual marketing, not the shit you see online, right? Buyer psychology is empathy. It's putting your buyer's needs before your own. 3, developing a sales process that aligns with your strengths, values, and target market. And 4, implementing a cash flow system that gets you paid and allows you to provide a stable financial future for your family. So if you're here and nodding along, that's awesome. I hope you find our content useful. And if you do, please leave a review and share it with a friend. Use our episodes to start meaningful discussions in your community. Take one action per episode. If it's your time to gain the skills required for sustainable self-employment, then you're going to want to go to theboldleadershiprevolution.com/academy and join the wait list. It's 2023 and I don't work for free. You shouldn't either. I also don't work for likes, follows, downloads. Right? I work for actual money. I work to make an honest living, put food on the table, and provide long-term stability for my family. I will be 100% unapologetic about that going forward. If this activates you, as I suspect it probably activates some of you, all the more reason to stick around and listen to the podcast and work with me. To join the Bold Profit Academy, that is theboldleadershiprevolution.com/academy. We enroll up to 4 new members a month. So we reach out as we have openings available on a monthly basis. If you found this podcast valuable, help us develop more bold leaders in the world by sharing this episode with your friends, colleagues, and other bold leaders. Also, if you haven't done so already, please leave a review. I consider reviews like podcast currency, and it's the one thing you can do to help us out here at the Bold Leadership Revolution HQ. We would be so grateful for it. Special thanks goes to Stacey Harris from Uncommonly More, who is the producer and editor of this podcast. Go check them out for all your digital marketing and content creation needs. Be sure to tune into the next episode to help you embrace your ambition and leave the grind behind.